Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm with
Nerd's Dave.
Nathan Nerdark.
And today we're D&Dizing the guy who's down with the earth from Middle Earth, Radagast the Brown. Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter. It's a great way to get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with us.
Today's D&Dizing of Radagast, what is it, Radagast? Radagast the Brown has been brought to you by our patron supporter, Ludwig, who's also has the notoriety and distinction of being the first fan I've ever murdered in one of our games. He's requested this D&Dization, so I was like, why not? We can throw this one in. And I believe this will be our first visit to Middle Earth with D&Dizing.
Oh.
Unless it's our second, of course. I don't know if we've actually done Gandalf the Grey or not, yet or not. Mm-hmm. But one of these days we will get to him.
So Radagast is one of the immortal beings called the Astari. Is that how we're pronouncing it?
Yes.
Astari, yeah.
So there is no real D&D equivalent as far as race goes. It's really tough. It's like they're kind of like human, but they're immortal, so not really. In some ways, I feel like maybe they're closer to being elves.
But they're like even one step beyond the semi-immortal beings of elves in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So like you've got all these different tiers of things, but they all look...
So the question is, do we want to go, okay, their closest equivalent is elves and make them a type of elf? Or do we want to just say human that lives really long? Because it doesn't seem like them coming back from death is actually a racial thing. It seemed very much more like a Gandalf thing.
Right. See, I would want to lean towards human that lives a really long time. Because that's what I would do the same with Aragorn, who is also one of these super long-lived races.
Yeah.
Like they look more human. They don't possess these elven qualities. So I would go human. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go human variant.
All right. So I was looking at Wood Elf, but okay, that's fine.
Well, for Radagast, I would say yes, but with the entire arc of the Astari, I would lean them towards human. So
okay, and the Middle Earth elves have facial hair too, so. So there is always that.
Yeah.
So human, possibly Wood Elf, just doesn't look very elf-like.
Yeah.
He definitely would have some Wood Elf type characteristics, but again, I guess I'm going to argue against myself with the sense that he really never showed himself to be particularly martial.
Right.
Where Gandalf, you're like, okay, well, you could kind of make him like a high elf. And he's using his sword and he fights with his staff and
both at the same time.
Yeah. So he was kind of a badass.
Now I'm gonna go out on a limb for background, and I'm going right to Hermit.
Yes,
that definitely makes sense.
Is there Mad Hermit anywhere? Yeah.
I think it's implied. He is kind of crazy. He's one with the wilderness, and he brings the secret, right? The part of being a hermit is having a secret.
Yes.
And he's the one that kind of discovers the shadow making its way back. The fires of Mordor are relit. He's the one that tells Gandalf and tips him off. Or was it the necromancer he tips him off about? But either way, he's basically the one to kind of kickstart everything.
Indeed.
So the Hermit works very well for this build. Where are we going to go with...
Well, here's the thing. When you get to Middle Earth, there is not the overt, I do spells.
No.
So even if you go into the Middle Earth, 5th edition equivalent, they don't have spell casting. Everything is done different. But if we're doing D&Dizing, we're not using these guys. I didn't really see anything martial in the little bit of screen time that Radagast has.
Or in the books.
Yeah, or in the books. And, frankly, I've only read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and they made his part a little bit bigger to make The Hobbit be multiple movies.
Right.
I would lean towards Druid because he's the most nature-oriented, but not martial enough to be a ranger. So that's where I would go.
Nice. You're also going to make Ludwig very happy because that was his suggestion as well. Now, with that, what I would add to that is, he's Circle of the Land.
Yeah.
He's definitely not...
He's not about the shape-shifting. We didn't see any signs of that. I would go in that direction.
And the other thing too is like, so all right, so there's not a ton of spell casting in Middle Earth, but he does speak with animals.
He speaks with animals.
He's got lots of animal friends.
And he's
which
got
could
that.
just be conjure allies.
Yep. Conjure nature's ally.
Yeah, or the speaking could actually be spellcasting, right?
Right.
And the D&D equivalent, of course.
Right.
So we're gonna kind of go druid, hermit. We're gonna make him a human. You know, he doesn't really get a lot of screen time, like you guys have said. So it's really hard to delve into the feats for him. We know he's not martial. He definitely has land vehicles.
I would agree with that as well.
From what we saw, you know, so he's got that, and he's got, you know, survival, and he would probably have any of the nature lore type stuff.
Obviously, not
Some
nature.
some of which he's going to get from hermits, some of which he's going to get from being human, and some of which he'll definitely get from being a druid.
Being a quote unquote wizard in the Lord of the Rings, I would give him knowledge arcana.
That makes sense. Like even if we have to delve into feats, it takes skilled to get there. I would definitely do that as well. So the nice thing about being a druid, he is going to be a ritual caster from being a druid. We could take being one of the wizards from Middle Earth. We could even take it a step further and be like, well, not only does he have knowledge arcana, he could actually have the ritual caster feat wizard.
Right.
Which would expand his repertoire as far as what he could draw from with rituals. I know we're reaching a little bit, we're drawing some conclusions, but I think it makes sense. Now he also gets mentioned in the Middle Earth book as well, because he's an ally to the Barons,
right?
To one of the cultures in that book.
But I mean, it's literally like a moment in passing. They're just like, oh, and Radagast the Brown.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but basically the whole culture in Middle Earth, for the game, is kind of sprung up around him. You know, he kind of lives with them, interacts with them, which they're also very much more tribal or clannish in nature as well. So it makes sense. Like they're more likely to be like barbarian and ranger type characters. For him to be a druid definitely makes sense. Obviously, there isn't a druidic order in Middle Earth.
Right.
You know, we're just going, okay, druid is his flavor of wizard.
Right. Yes.
For the purpose of D&Dizing. What do you guys think? How would you create this character with the Dungeons and Dragons rule set? Do you think we hit the mark, or are we way off? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check out Funny Memes over on Facebook.
Or you can hit us up on nerdarchy.com and check out all our sweet swag.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.